Welcome to Our Paramotor Nation. Tonight's show is sponsored by Wisconsin Flight Sports. They make it affordable and accessible for you to get your paramotor training. They are stocked with SkyMax Paramotors, one of the best paramotors available, and they are ready to be shipped to you today. Check out Paraswag USA for your complete powered paragliding gear, source providing you with the new Rebel 2 RS paramotor, as well as other gear and accessories. JK Custom Carbs is a father and daughter run small business taking your vision and immortalizing it forever on wood, plastic, or aluminum. With extremely affordable pricing, this creation makes a great gift and trophy for any paramotor enthusiast. Find JK Custom Carbs on Facebook or click on their link on the Our Paramotor Nation website. iFly Indiana provides USPPA certified powered paragliding training on their equipment or on yours. Full-time classes are 7 to 9 days. Part-time classes are also available. Come out to Indiana and see how beautiful it can be to train. Take the next big step in your paramotor training at Skylab Paramotor SIV. Here, paramotor pilots of all skill levels will learn collapse recovery and advanced maneuvers. One-Up Adventures and ParamotorProps.com. Come share their passion for flight on adventure trips around the world. Additionally, they are a supplier of carbon fiber propellers in the U.S. at extremely low prices and have become a leader in the country for getting tandem training and exemptions. Fly My PPG offers a full-service paramotor training experience with 3 on-site instructors and class sizes limited to 6 students, all on a beautiful private 90-acre airport. Fly My PPG offers on-site lodging and RV camping. Space is limited, so don't wait to make your reservation. More than just soap, Charlie Soap has all-natural laundry detergents and household cleaners like no others. They are a supporter of Resurgence PPG. Get all the natural cleaning supplies you need at charliesoap.com. Celebrating their 10th anniversary, the team at Fly PPG Discovered Power Paragliding has helped people from around the world get into our great sport. They are the Midwest importers and distributors of adventure paramotors, trikes, and wings. Aviator Paramotor is a cornerstone for paramotor training while offering its students some of the top paramotoring equipment. With 2 locations in beautiful Florida, class availability has never been more convenient. With raving reviews, Lone Star Paramotor has become one of the most sought-out paramotor schools in the South, near San Antonio, Texas, offering foot launching and trike training classes and much more. Light up the skies with PPG lights and make one heck of an impression with countless patterns and colors on your paramotor. No aircraft can miss seeing you when you are flying at twilight with PPG lights. Nebraska Paramotor strives to be a central resource hub for the community training just southeast of Springfield, Nebraska. They will help you select the best paramotor, glider, and other accessories suited for your flying style. Wicked Wings logo can help you have a one-of-a-kind custom glider with one or multiple colors on your logo. Get all the information you need to order your logo today on the Our Paramotor Nation website. That's www.ourparamotornation.com. And while you're there, check out Our Paramotor Nation's upcoming shows, watch our past shows, and visit all of our sponsors and find out much, much more. And now, let's get started with Our Paramotor Nation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Our Paramotor Nation. I am David Wolf. So nice for you guys to be here. This is a different kind of feeling I have going into a Sunday night. We had and I'm going to let my co-host here, John Ripman, riding in. I've also got a couple guests here. Josh Boden, of course, is our guest, and you guys can bring your screens up. Also joining us tonight is Todd Scandrett from Resurgence PPG and Justin Fox, and friend and daughter. So here, one of the things that we do on the show from time to time is do some creative, fun things just to keep things light. And Josh and Justin and John and myself and Todd as well had some input. We had a real fun, exciting start to the show that we had planned. A lot of people know that Josh and Justin sometimes get confused with one another. They look very, very similar, especially when they're wearing their BGD coats and matching sunglasses and drinking Coors Lights. So it's very, very difficult to tell them apart. And the first probably 10 minutes of the show was going to be me asking Justin questions as if he was Josh. And we've done that before. And some of the questions and answers that Justin had prepared were just absolutely hilarious. But we as a group decided we're not going to do that tonight. And the reason is one of our paramotor brothers we lost yesterday, a gentleman by the name of Ray Moldovan. And Ray was a student with Andy Fuller at Skylab. And a lot of you may have seen a post. Andy and I had just talked earlier, and I talked with Leah earlier, Leah Catullo. And we thought it would be a good idea to have Andy come on and express his deepest condolences to the family. And, after thinking about it a little bit, and, this was just yesterday, and Andy even said, hey, you know what, maybe we should let this rest a little bit. And Andy's just absolutely heartbroken. And I think all of us were talking with him before the show, and you could just see his demeanor was not the guy that a lot of us know. Andy is a phenomenal instructor. Last week we had Bart Berry on, and he talked very, very highly of his training out there. And John and myself have gone through the training as well. Dave Ruff, our other co-host, he's gone through it as well. Dave's actually lost. I got a message. Him and I'm very scatterbrained right now. Him and help me, guys.
Greg Anthony Harris.
Thank you. Greg and Cynthia are on their way back from flying at Kyle O'Glee's place, and Dave just messaged me and said they're lost in Arkansas. So he may or may not be back on the show tonight. Hopefully he does. But it kind of changed the whole dynamic of how we were going to go about the show with Josh and Justin. And it's good that Justin's here as well, because now we have two instructors, and we're going to change the path of the show a little bit tonight and what we had planned. And, usually I have some notes of where I want to go, and that's pretty much gone. Because in a few moments, we're going to talk about being an instructor, and what does it means, the risks that they have, and the feelings that they go through as well. But before we do that, Todd is here, and Todd asked for a little airtime. By the way, thank you all for being here. Wow, 119 people watching right now. Josh Boden, man, you just bring them in, man. People want to hear from Josh Boden, apparently.
Right.
But by the way, Kyle O'Glee made a comment early on saying something about drinking every time someone mentions, what was it, Nebraska or Paramotor. So I was going to start off with my Coke, but Jack showed up here too. So I guess we're going to be doing that.
Jack is there.
Jack showed up. He just, I can never let him not. Yeah. Todd had some announcements, but before we hear from Todd, you were at my house about 2 weeks ago, and you got this package. You can start opening that package now. And while you are, a couple weeks ago, John Ripman Ryden, and then the week after, Dave Ruff, and then last week, Craig Taylor, were honored by the show for their contributions to our community, for everything they do for the show week in and week out. And Todd, have you opened the package yet?
I have not. You guys told me not to.
Oh, I told you just now to go ahead and start opening it.
No, Ripa told me don't open it. So, the Florida New Yorker, I got to make sure.
He's a Floridian.
He's a little flaky. He's flaky.
So here it is.
So go ahead and open up. It's not that, exciting or anything, but Todd, we wanted to honor you in our way here and give you a blue wrench because of all that you've done. So you're like, man, I thought it would be something better than that. And if you haven't noticed yet, Todd, you are now the fourth person in the chat that has a blue wrench. Did you notice that earlier?
I did, yes.
You did.
And
So now there's your
Cleveland Browns.
Oh, I did pack a Cleveland Brown. And that's actually worth something. There you go. All right. And you got your blue wrench. Is it the 10 millimeter? Everybody keeps asking me who got the 10 millimeter.
No, I got the half inch.
Okay. Well,
so
it was
I got the standard size.
What's that?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do. And now you can, do all the powers that come with having a blue wrench in the chat. So congratulations. Don't abuse the power. Right. Cool. So you had some announcements.
Yeah. So the first thing, obviously, this show is carrying a bit different tone. And, I just want to, express my condolences to the family. And also remind everybody that, we need to keep Skylab SIV, that team, in our thoughts and prayers as well. They're going to be going through a lot. This is a sport where we're in this together. We share a love of aviation. We share a love of flying. And it's something that, we need to support each other in difficult times. And so when I first started hearing about this, my heart was broken, obviously, for the pilot and his family, but also for Andy and Lee and everybody over there at Skylab SIV. So I would just ask everybody to keep everybody in their thoughts and prayers, because it's tough. It's tough on all of us because we are a close community. Resurgence PPG is proof of that. And so, again, thoughts to the family and thoughts to the Skylab team. So with that, wanted to go ahead and share some, positive news, some interesting things that are transpiring for Resurgence PPG. The first is we do have a candidate that is scheduled for training at the end of this month with Fly My PPG and One Up Adventures down in Wauchula, Florida. Gentleman's name is Justin Terrell. He is a Army, what we call a human analyst, a human intelligence guy. So big brain kind of guy. We're really looking forward to, being able to sponsor candidates again and getting more folks in the air and continuing to impact them. But the big news, and this is something that I'm going to start touting a lot more, because I am going to need the community's help. We're going to need, the help as a community. Keith Smith has a fly-in scheduled for September 17th through the 19th. And
where is that, Todd?
I'm sorry?
Where is that?
I'm
State?
not sure. I'd have to go back and look, because I had to respectfully decline because Resurgence PPG, we have another big event going on. But this time it's outside of the paramotor community, and hopefully it'll be something that we can all benefit from. We will actually be participating, at least as an expo vendor, at the 2021 Warrior Games that will be held in Orlando, Florida this year. And the Warrior Games is basically the Department of Defense version of the Paralympics. They bring in disabled veterans from all services and foreign services, and they conduct adaptive sports events in a Olympic style format. And so we're gonna be there. We're gonna try to share what paramotor is all about, and hopefully we'll have the ability to provide some tandem flights. But we are going to need support of the community again, because we're going to need some additional funding. This year, the Warrior Games is actually being held at the ESPN Sports Complex in Disney World. And so we'll be there for, roughly 4 or 5 days. And right now, the only thing we're waiting on is approval from Disney to fly from the ESPN Sports Complex.
Very cool.
Yeah. And so I know a lot of people are going to freak out and they're going to say, hey, well, there's a TFR over Disney. Thankfully, the TFR is not over the ESPN Sports Complex. We've already checked that out. Really? So the TFR basically covers the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and a couple of their resorts. But the sports complex is just south of the TFR. So airspace is not a concern. The only issue we have right now is getting Disney company to provide us authorization to launch and land on their property. So we've already received the approval and the invitation from the Department of the Army, who is the host service this year. And so we're just waiting on Disney to let us know what our available capacity will be. So hopefully that'll be a big event, for us and also for the paramotor community as a whole, as we try to, expose the sport to a larger adaptive community.
PPG Pirate says, if you need volunteers, I'm in. What else can we do? How can we help support?
The big thing is, and it's what we saw with the Adventure Wingman trip. A lot of the guys that came on the Adventure Wingman trip, there was a lot of individual self-funding. We did have a grant from Adventure Wingman, and we used that funding to supplement some of the guys' travel, supplement some of the hotels. We didn't have enough money to spread around to everybody. But that's something that we're going to need to do again this time, is try to help supplement some of the travel costs and whatnot, because we're wanting to bring in our alumni from all over the country again to participate. So we're looking at hotel rooms and travel costs and meal costs and those kind of things. So again, I'm applying for grants. I'm trying to work those angles. But between now and then, if people have, if they're able to do donation matching with a corporation they work with, if they can sign up for smile.amazon.com and select us as a charity, any of those measures to help us with the funding piece would be greatly appreciated. Because again, this is going to be another huge opportunity, for exposure for the paramotor sport.
Yep.
And we're going to do our best to be positive ambassadors and positive role models, and hopefully we'll get some more folks that want to get involved.
So last couple of weeks, we've been doing donations in the chat. So super chat donations, 50% of the proceeds the last couple of weeks have gone to Resurgence PPG. We're going to keep that going tonight. So if you want to help Resurgence PPG out and the show, of course, you can make a donation to the super chat. Todd's sporting one of those awesome buffs. I'm actually wearing my Wicked Wings logo one right now from Craig Taylor, who is a huge supporter of Resurgence PPG. Last couple of weeks, we've raised a couple $100 for Resurgence PPG through the show, which is fantastic. Love to see that keep going. And I did order, I think I ordered 5 buffs and 2 masks. Todd told me I had to order masks, so I did. So, but we're going to give it, when we give away 2 of those tonight. Ripman, it's your job to figure out how to come up with that, how to give them away.
All right. Let me get a pen. All right. I'm ready to go.
I don't know what I'm going to ask a question or what. I don't know. Or if you just want to pick the craziest comments. Oh my gosh. James just came right in with $20 donation. Thank you, James. Really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Oh,
there you go. All right. So, and Josh Boden always raises money. PPG Pirate just came in with a $50 donation. That's awesome.
Thanks, John. You're awesome.
There you go. And we'll fly with $5. That's awesome. Hey, Josh Boden's here. We should start talking to him. Unless you had anything else, Todd.
No, that was the big announcement for us. I think it's really cool that we're going to be at Disney showing off our sport to several hundred disabled veterans at one time. And I'm just asking for, continued help from the community, man. We're really going to need it for this event. And I think it's going to be really cool for all of us.
That's awesome. And hopefully this brings a lot of recognition to a well-deserved organization as Resurgence PPG. Fly Baby, Fly PPG with a $10 donation, and Michael Weatherspoon with a $40 donation. Thank you, guys.
I've
Thanks
got
so much, guys.
things for Todd. Todd,
Yeah.
I'd love to help. That's one. Second, I'm thinking Brody's in Disney.
In Disney, yes.
Yeah.
In front of the castle.
I can make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
They have plenty of parking lots, or they have plenty of football and soccer fields. So you take your choice.
Let's make it happen.
We'll do it. Man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John Wayne, for the $50 donation. That's so generous. Derek Trout, also very generous, a $25 donation. And Fly My PPG's Mike Cotter with a $100 donation right there.
Oh, Mike.
Awesome.
Oh,
Justin's like, hey, whoa,
I didn't
profit.
That's funny.
And
thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate the support.
we're going to try to get to this interview and keep the donations coming. I just want to keep mentioning them when I can every
I
time.
don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
No, it's going up.
The
Darren
donations are
Locklear,
flying in.
$20. Thank you, Darren. Craig Taylor with another $100 donation. I think he did the same thing last week. Gosh, Craig, you're amazing. Jim CR 120 with a $10 donation. Thanks, Jim. We appreciate that. We have 2 instructors here, and both have also instructed Resurgence candidates as well. And guys, what are the risks? What are the risks? What do you go through when you're watching someone either being towed or leaving the ground for the first time? And as a new instructor, you both are tenured instructors now. Is your heart pounding those first few flights? What do you go through? I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying, I want to become a paramotor instructor. What do they need to know before they do that?
Josh, you're up.
Josh, you're the guest.
I think that no matter what, you always think you're a little bit further ahead of the game than you really are. And it only takes one little slip up to put you in check. And then the next time you think that you're on the ball, it's one thing after another. And the greatest instructors that we know are probably still dealing with it 10, 15, 20 years later. So I don't think we can ever, we need to go each class and each student, not like we know every single thing that's going to happen. I don't think there's a time where you are going to be the world's best instructor. Is it 2 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? It's just all situational. Stress wise, each student, I think the training that we've taken, I saw training happen before I was an instructor and it was rough. I think that a lot of us have come together recently to up the level of training and what happens before their feet leave the ground. And I think that's a huge thing for our inside to calm us before they take off. I think we all feed off of each other. I've fed off of Justin. We talk. We've sat around campfires and with dozens of instructors, and we've all compared notes. So I think, I don't know if I'm going on a tangent, but the fact that we have each other to feed on and off of, rather than maybe in the past it was more of a competition, but I think a lot of us feed off each other now and learn from each other. Is it stressful each time? I don't know. We have students that can be, but we as instructors probably have to pull back and say, maybe it's not right for this one to go right now. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just a matter of sticking them with somebody else. What do you think, Justin?
No, I agree. I mean, from the time we get that first phone call from a potential student that wants to get into sport, I mean, usually their first point of contact is Mike. He takes the call, and he has a pretty good system. He's vetting them out. He's trying to figure out aptitude, where they're at, what their ambition level is, where they want to go with the sport. And, he's building that rapport, that student instructor rapport right from the get-go. So when he feels like it's a good student, we bring them into our course. And then from there, we're fortunate at Fly My to have 3 different instructors, Mike, Bob, and myself. So we have 3 different personalities, and we can generally from there, when we start working with the students out in the field, I mean, this is not, I mean, it is all about the students when we're training them. I mean, we have a mission to accomplish, but it's also like we're trying to build that relationship. So we are able to kind of spread the students out, fit the right student with the right instructor, build that relationship, and see, from there, we know who's going to work better with who. And we continue the training, and then it builds up. And yes, for me, there's always stress, those first flights. I mean, it's always a buildup. I mean, there's a lot that is going on. I mean, we really have like that, I know Josh and I, we kind of train the same way. It's not, a weekend thing when the weather's good. We bring them in. Doesn't matter what the weather's going to be like for that week. We're always playing the weather. I mean, that's always going to be something that we have to face. So, I mean, we have a lot to accomplish in a short amount of time. So, we have a lot to get done, and yes, lots of stress for me. And I know for Mike and, maybe, I don't know, Bob, he's just chill all around.
Bob doesn't have stress. He's
So,
one of the most coolest
he's
guys I've ever met.
He's the coolest, the old soul, he's great. And that's why we love having him, because, I mean, he's like, he's the in-between of Mike and I. I mean, he's way cooler than both Mike and I got it. But So yes, lots of stress. There's lots to accomplish. There's lots on our plate, but ultimately, the student, they're pilot in command of what they're doing. So, that's why from the beginning, we're talking about, like, you have to be that robot. We're trying to get them to understand. You need to listen. You have to listen to us. We're trying to gain that trust with them. So, and there's, other things that we do. I mean, from the motor simulation, that again, it's not just for the student. A lot of the things that we have in our program is not just for the student. It's for us to build that relationship and go back and forth and, kind of learn how they're going to act. There's a lot of things that I can see on the ground through our training program that I know that if I can knock these bad habits, because let's face it, paramotoring is like, your intuition is all backwards. Everything you think you need to do, like, you shouldn't do. And that's why we instruct, because, without proper instruction, like, your intuition tells you needed to do something that for the most part is probably going to be improper technique. So, a lot of the things that I can weed out on the ground is going to give me more confidence in that student once they take to the sky.
Yeah, so it's an interview process from the first time they call you. And then I like to say, come out to the field. Sometimes we can't do that because they're 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours away from us, right? But sitting through the first video, the first book, you do evaluate each student as they go and figure out how they're going to learn. Do they need more repetitive? Or you can watch their eyes. Are they seeing what you're telling them? Are they absorbing it? Are they going to remember? Mark H said, how do you handle the stress? You're talking about somebody who gets up there and loses it. We've all had somebody go up, their motor is torquing one way, and you're like, go ahead, right brake, a little bit of weight shift, right brake, a little bit of weight shift, and they do nothing. They're just slowly turning off into one direction. So, I mean, I guess for me, when I do radio checks, average volume right here is just loud enough to get over the motor. I have enough time, or, you can get louder over the radio. The calm talking does usually get us far enough, but sometimes you really have to get in their head when they're not listening. And I've had people not listen for 20 seconds, and that's scary, because that initial getting off the ground thing is can potentially be the toughest part. Panic wise, you can't really panic. You can't lose it, because we have to stay strong for them. And for Mark, advice, opening a school, I would say go train with people. Go watch other people instruct. Nobody, I would never, I don't think Justin would, a lot of other instructors I know would say, come to our field, hang out. I'll tell somebody, no, I think you should probably just get your skills going further and further. Because was I ready 100% when I started training? I thought so. Now it's been years and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally ready. But there's always one thing. It's like, got it. That's another key that I wish I would have known years and years ago. So there's no substitute for time. I mean, I've been an electrician since I was 16 years old. I'll be 42 next week. And I still learn. I'm a master electrician. I've been licensed forever. But you always learn. When are you ready? I don't know. Maybe even though we're not really governed, maybe there should be a little bit more stringent standards. Oh, there you go, Justin. And I think that's on the horizon. Being a USP EPA certified or ASC or whatever it may be, stricter standards might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. I want to thank a couple people real quick for their donations in the super chat. Shandor, love you, man. What a great story with Shandor. Needed a little help getting into the sport. And now he's giving it right back. So thank you, Chandra, for all your support that you always show us with Resurgence PPG.
Hey, Dave, can I jump in real quick since you're talking about Chandor?
Yes, sir.
I've got to give a tip of the hat to him as well. He has come on as a monthly donor to Resurgence. And if you guys actually know Chandor's story, it means that much more that he's now a monthly donor to Resurgence and really supporting our cause. And, he has turned into a good friend of ours, and I truly appreciate it. So Chandor, thanks so much.
Yes,
man.
thank you very much.
What a great guy. Ken Stamey for $20. He donated and he says, hello. Hey, Ken. Thanks for donating here.
Hello, Ken.
I don't know if I missed one more. I think there was one more. Mark George, Pair of Swag, loves Resurgence PPG. Pair of Swag just came out with these. You have it, John, the hubcaps. Not the hubcaps. What are they
The
called?
prop hub.
The prop hub. So check it out. I think he was
Quick
telling
release.
me the quick release. Yes, you can go onto their website, and he's got I think the first one. I want to say 40, but I could be a little bit high on that number there. First 40 or so orders for those as free shipping. So go check that out. Little plug for him. You know what's interesting? I'm watching Josh, and I'm going to EFD just because Josh is going to be there because I've never got to hang out with Josh.
That's the first time I met Justin. We were both in class together.
Yeah.
And
But here's the thing, Josh. So we've seen you several times on Paragliding Talk.
Right.
Justin and I've hung out with you, and both, as you watch both of these guys, these are two guys that everybody would love to just sit back, hang out with, and be friends with. And whenever you see them, they're always very giddy and very excitable and very fun. Now you're seeing a whole different side to what instructors have. They have this seriousness about them too, because they take their jobs extremely serious. And it's good to see. I think someone had brought up, being able to, well, I think you answered the question actually, as far as, mentoring or doing an apprenticeship, and that's
Sure.
good.
I think that should be required.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to train should work with an instructor. I mean, it was required for me with my USPPA. I worked with an instructor up here for, probably 6 months. I thought that I gained a lot from him, which I did, but it wasn't until I opened, my school, Fly My, with Mike, and that first time we had to solo that instructor on my own. Like, I had no idea what I was getting into. And it was all the other instructor, all that stress, everything was put on the other instructor. I was just helping. I would talk to students. It felt great. Like, I got this, but until it's your livelihood, I shouldn't even say my livelihood, but just, the safety of the person that you're sending up in the air. I mean, there's a lot that comes down on you as the instructor. And it was that moment, in the moment. It's like, all right, it is game time. Like, I signed up for this. I'm doing this. I fortunately had a great, one of my biggest mentors, John Isley, helped us get our school up and running. I mean, he's a fabulous instructor. So he was there, but still it was me, at the radio talking to the student. And I mean, you have no idea until that moment happens, like how much you've taken on, and it's getting better and better. And we're getting more experience. And I'm becoming a better instructor, and we're training more students. Our students are becoming better. I mean, everything, it's growing like it should. And, I'm growing with the sport, and the sport's growing. We're getting a lot of different, this sport, you could probably say 10 years ago, was bringing in a lot of, cowboy mentality, and it's shifting into, we're getting all different personalities, all different types. Social media is growing this sport like you couldn't believe. And everybody YouTube makes it look easy.
Right.
And so we can't deny them that, because really anybody, not anybody, but most people can do this sport. So we have to, work with them and get them through that. And wow. So
I was just telling my friend Graham before that every flight, I'm learning every flight. I never stop learning.
Mhm.
So there was you're right, John. Absolutely right. There was a real impactful post on Facebook about maybe a week ago from Chris Santa Croce. And I'm sure you both read it. I'm thinking you both probably read it. 3 years ago when I got into the sport, it seemed like the instructors were very cutthroat to get every last student they could because there was only X number of students available. And now it seems like you just said, Justin, the sport is growing. Did either one of you have a chance to read that post from Chris?
I think so. What was the,
Is it in regards to there's a plethora of students now and good instruction being available?
right?
What'd you make out of that?
Well, he did also say in a past post that we don't all jive together. It wasn't that exact word, but we don't all jive together. Like, I may be a crap instructor to you, David. I may be awesome for Todd. Or I was with Todd when he learned. Justin might not teach this guy as good as Mike. So not only do you have to find the right school, you have to find the right person that you click with. We do have the benefit of having a lot more schools out now because, I say it multiple times. I almost trained with two people, one of two, 12 years ago that a lot of us disagree with now.
Yeah.
Luckily, I happened to find somebody else that, it would have never worked with either of them for me. And I fortunately found somebody that it did work with. So I think the fact that we do have a lot more options now, we don't have to just settle, and we can find that the person that we click with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I answered it all, but
No, you did. One of the things that as I'm doing this show, a lot of people send me messages, and I really try not to look at the messages. I know one message that came in asking of details on the tragedy that happened yesterday. I just was notified that there was a very horrible, what I believe, a very extremely horrible post that someone just posted that was there. So before anybody asks questions about what happened yesterday, let me say this. It's under a police investigation, and statements were taken. And really, I think it's our responsibility not to really be discussing it, not to asking questions. If something ever happens, Justin, you were mentioning this before. Who's in command? Who's ultimately in charge?
Yeah, when it comes to operating of a paramotor, it's always the pilot. The pilot that is controlling that aircraft, you are in command of that aircraft. I don't know if you want me to go off on the tangent of like towing. As an instructor, to me, the only thing I'm directly connected to a student is when I am towing, because I am in control of the throttle. I'm in control of the tow machine. I'm in control of that line that's bringing them up. So other than that, ultimately it comes down to how well that student listens. They are the pilot in command. And if I'm giving them wrong instruction and they don't feel right about it, then they steer themselves to safety.
Can accidents happen?
Can they happen?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it ever the instructor's intent to make an accident happen?
I mean, nobody ever wants to hurt their student. That is not our intention at all. The only reason we do this is because, for me, I was self-taught. I trained myself in my backyard, and I did not, I believe in this sport that self-teaching is someone's, if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. But not everybody wants to do that. And I wanted to be able to share the ability that it doesn't need to be as tough as it was for me to self-teach myself in my backyard. So, the equipment I broke, the time it took, the efficiency that we have in training. I mean, we just weed out all that bad stuff right from the get-go, and you become you're a better, more competent pilot from taking instruction. But, accidents do happen. I mean, that nobody's perfect. We as the instructor, we're not perfect. Do I give wrong commands? Yes, I give wrong commands. And do I, it just happens. We're all human. We make mistakes, but we are not here to hurt anybody. And I am here to progress and better the sport. And I support, schools, SIV clinics, because I think about my school as being elementary, right? This is elementary. You're learning how to tie your shoes, fly a paramotor. When you go to an SIV clinic, that's like, let's call it college, I guess.
Continuing education.
It's yes, you're taking what you've learned, your skill, and now you're growing upon it, and you're here, you're putting yourself into these scenarios and learning how to recover from certain scenarios. And like, that's the danger, that's the inherent risk of this sport, is what the what ifs, what can happen. And as a beginner student taking a beginner course, you're not really learning. I mean, you're learning a lot of what ifs, but not like the advanced stuff, the advanced maneuvers, collapse recovery, asymmetric spirals. I didn't know, I knew how to instruct and teach someone how to fly a paramotor far before I knew how to do an asymmetric collapse, because I took my SIV course. So, I knew that there's inherent risk in this sport, and there always will be. And we're here to coach, and all we can do is become better instructors, everybody supports each other, whether it's instructors, SIV instructors, the students. This is a small community. So I'm just here to support everybody and progress the sport, make it safer in the end.
I have trained at 4 different locations now. And I've trained with Flight Junkies. I've trained with Fly My PPG. I've trained with One Up Adventures, and I've trained with Skylab. And in every place I've trained, I've always signed a liability waiver, and I understand what that means. Right. Now, I am heartbroken, as well as our entire community is, for the loss, every loss that we have. I think right now, pointing of fingers is the wrong thing to do, out of respect to everybody involved, the family especially. Okay. Justin, when I trained with Mike, he had no idea what was going on up there. I mean, he could see what I was doing, but ultimately he really didn't know what I was pulling or when I was pulling it. In fact, and this was actually caught on video, at one point I wasn't in my seat right, and my strap going across my left leg was cutting off blood, and I was passing out as I was landing. And Ross was there, Ross Gasaway was there, and I remember yelling down to Mike, I'm passing out. And when I landed, I just landed on my feet, and I remember rolling to my arms, and I was blacked out. And I don't blame that on anybody. It's just something that happened. Yeah. I think we had a couple questions here.
Yeah. I think Justin and I would answer this the same way about, do we know any dangerous instructors? I think we could probably both say, sure we do. We've also seen on Facebook groups how out of control that can get in a matter of an hour, with who's good, who's bad. And we can both answer, and I don't think either of us would be the type of person to say anybody's name right here, right now.
No.
But I think it's very possible to say on the groups that everybody pays attention to, some people, let's just say some people aren't named on those, in those questions. Mm-hmm. Some people are. So, there's a reputation and there's a reason for it.
Shane asked, do you guys carry any liability insurance?
There isn't any. Our liability insurance is that certificate, those I have one for the field property. I have one from the USPPA. I have one that's been drawn up, but guess who wins when they sue? The lawyers win. I'm probably not going to get sued. Justin's probably not going to get sued. That person suing is not going to make any money. The owner of the property is going to lose money, and so are we, and the lawyers are going to make the money. So it's a high risk activity, hobby, sport, whatever we want to call it. And luckily for us, we're in like the safest one that we can be in. I used to race motorcycles. That was not safe. I ride a motorcycle. I'm more likely to get hit. In fact, my daughter sees it all the time. People pull out in front of me nonstop. Fortunately, we are in the safest activity we can be in. I mean, you know, we can get hurt or killed in many other things: rock climbing, motorcycle racing, driving a car. Sadly, we've had 2 incidents in the last month and a half, and they do happen. And we're growing more and more and more. So it's going to happen more and more and more. We just have to, and I think a lot of us are doing a good job at being brothers in our activity, our sport, as instructors, as Our Paramotor Nation, Paragliding Talk, all of the groups that we all get in. You know, there's 100 and some people watching, and I know a lot of them are repeat every week. There's a lot of groups on Facebook and wherever. If we do a good job of supporting each other and being buddies rather than assholes, we get a lot more out of this than we do being controversial.
Yeah.
And as long as we play nice, we get along, we learn a lot more. You know, it's easy for us to just turn it off when people are being tough, but to get an understanding about everything and be what many of us across the country have become, from coast to coast. I have friends on each side, and I think it's gone really well. And that never used to happen. It wasn't like that 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It was a kind of strange dynamic.
Well, I mean, I've said this before, and I haven't said this in a while, and I think part of the reason that is the gentleman that's sitting on the top right corner of the screen. I believe Resurgence PPG and what Todd has created has really brought a lot of people together to put those petty things behind us. So
Yeah, and I mean, if I could jump in and kind of add to it and kind of bring this full circle again, the piece that Chris Santa Croce had authored was about cooperativeness and, you know, being supportive of each other. And that's something that from our inception, I've tried to do. And, you know, I highly encourage people to support Project Airtime and what they do. And, you know, if 2 nonprofits that are trying to get donations from the same community, if we can truly be good friends and we support each other. And I don't tell people this a lot, but Resurgence PPG is a monthly donor to Project Airtime. And it's because I believe in them and I think it's good for the community. Given this situation, you know, I think what we need to do is we need to look back on when Lori Kadakis had his accident and passed away. You know, it wasn't a situation where all of a sudden people started pointing fingers at a manufacturer because he was a world-class pilot and a test pilot. You know, it was a situation where we all kind of came together and, you know, we understood the challenges and the difficulties. And I think that's where we need to be now. You know, we need to lean on each other. We need to be supportive of each other, recognize the difficulty of what happened, pay our respects, and eventually learn from the event. But it does us no good at all if we're not supporting each other. You know, we cannot grow and mature as a sport if we continue the pettiness and fighting. You know, so, you know, it's important for us to all be together, be supportive, and, you know, move on as a family, because that's what we are.
Extremely well said. Thank you. It's been a tough show, especially when we had such fun things that we were going to have some huge laughs about, and then it turned into something like this. But everything that the three of you have said has been extremely impactful. And like you said, we got to learn from this and move on. How do we move into giving away a couple of those Resurgence buffs there, Johnny?
Wow.
I don't know how you take a moment like that and say, hey,
John, you had one job.
Yeah, right.
It's funny. I was moderating the chat and I was so focused and I was listening to all three of you guys, but I wasn't absorbing, what I should have been.
Hey, Todd, let's do this. Todd, I'm going to put this on you. Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you pick two people, one person from I don't know how we're going to do this. How do you make this without putting that much pressure on you?
Hey, so you wanted to give away two?
Yeah, let's give away two.
If you're throwing it on me, I'm going to give one to Shondor.
That's what I was thinking.
Because
I love it.
Again, I go back to the fact that,
And how about this? The first person that guess what Dave gave Todd in a package can get the second one.
All right. That's a good idea. Is that okay there, Todd?
Yeah, it works for me.
All right.
All right. So what did Dave give Todd tonight?
All right.
First person in the chat
very
gets a buff.
Very easy question.
Yeah, but people were paying attention.
Let's see if I can screen share my
Sean says that's a lot of pressure.
I know. You know what? Here,
we got a winner.
Who is it there, Johnny?
James Sutherland.
James Sutherland. He's our guest next week. James.
Well
Sutherland.
deserved.
There you go. All right.
Hey, James, I just got my subscription of Charlie's soap in for the month.
Nice.
And I just did my laundry with Charlie's soap.
There you go.
Tonight.
I did last week. Hot Buttered Steve, new to the show. I've never seen I would definitely remember Hot Buttered Steve's name. Just donated $20. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody that's donated to tonight's show as well. Yeah, James next week. Guys, last thoughts, safety. By the way, did you bet anybody tonight, Todd, that Josh would or would not talk about strobes?
I was trying to. I was hoping to, but Jordan did not want to go forward with the bet.
Want to take the bet because
he didn't want to take the bet. So I would have won $500 from him.
I told Josh that I was going to make sure I flew with my strobe. So I've got the PPG lights, and I turned them on. I flicked them on, and usually they'll like switch colors a little bit. And as I was flying, I looked behind me. I'm like, yellow. They're stuck on yellow. Who the hell
blends in
yellow?
well?
Yeah, I'm like, who's gonna see this? Josh would be so disappointed in me.
Right. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead through with that spiel real quick.
Yes, sir.
We'll spend $600 to $800 to $1,400 on a reserve. We might see it once a year. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll send it in for a repack. Hopefully we do. A strobe, it could be $70, $80. It could be $200 for a really good one. Wear it all the time. Somebody might not run into you. It might be a GA aircraft that's not paying attention. It might be your buddy. It's just a little quick insurance policy. And I think that we should all just wear one, and not for an extra half hour in the morning or a half hour at night. Put one on, keep it charged. Our GoPros are always charged. Our phones are always charged. Why not just keep it on us and fly with it all the time? Might just help you. Might save you one time.
I agree. Thank you. And he's right. He's right.
It's easy.
It's very easy and it's inexpensive. And by the way, who's that gentleman that's always making those strobes?
Hunter.
Happy birthday. It's his birthday today, I believe. I think I saw his.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, happy birthday to him. There was a little discrepancy, John, in that question.
I heard we might have to give away another buff.
We're going to give away a third buff. Okay.
Now it's my fault. I'm sorry.
Craig Taylor answered Browns because it wasn't a pennant. It was actually a Browns napkin. Okay. Now, Craig Taylor, I'm sure has a Resurgence buff. And if I know Craig.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to send him and then we'll do 4. Okay. Because Travis, I can't pronounce his last name. Travis Genru, Genereaux. Is that how you pronounce his last name, John? He also said a Browns flag. So, all right. So those 4 people, if you want to send me an email tonight to claim your prize, David Wolf 51 at
General.
General. Should give away a 5th buff to the first person who can pronounce his last name correctly. No, we're going to do those 4.
No.
David Wolf 51 at gmail.com. Send me your mailing address. We'll send you and send me if you want a buff or a mask. So send those over to me and I will go ahead and mail those out to you here in the next day or so.
What's the 51 for, Dave?
You're going to embarrass me.
Okay, no, we'll leave it alone.
I played a little football in high school.
Oh gosh.
That's your football number?
That was
I thought it was your age.
From high school?
From high school. And you know what? I played middle school and then I played my freshman year of high school. And then when they realized I was like as small as the football, they stopped playing me and told me you should go become a swimmer. And I did. So that's, I was the swim team captain. But yeah.
Yeah,
It's my lucky number. It's my lucky number. Leave me alone.
You could have gotten rid of that email when you were, say, 19.
Okay, you know what? I wasn't gonna do this, but you really gave me no choice. There it is. I mean,
come on.
Right there, the whole show. You had a chance to make it through the whole show.
He did.
Kyle
what
Mooney
fun
just-
would it be if that happened?
Yes.
David?
I'm reading a question that you put in the chat there. I'm
sorry. Todd wants to know if you're a linebacker.
No, I was actually right guard, right offensive guard. I mean, these guys just ran right over me and sacked the quarterback every single time. It was unbelievable. What time is it? It's about time to wrap up here.
David, real quick, email address again.
David
Wolf 51 at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
And then if you want to join the after show, you're more than welcome to. There you go. Kyle Mooney says, "Oh, my bad. Shut up, Todd." Okay. So if you want to join the after show, it's in the description. Linda Anderson, listen to me closely. It's in the description of the video. I'm not going to send it to you tonight on Facebook Messenger. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. In the description of the YouTube video is the meeting ID and password. Linda, listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda.
All right. Josh, Justin, thank you both very, very much for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Giving us some incredible words of wisdom. It wasn't the show we were expecting, but it was, I think, a much, much more impactful show tonight. So thank you very, very much, guys.
I thank you, David.
Yes.
All right.
Because I mean, without you, we wouldn't be able to bring this to the other people out there. So
I appreciate it.
Yep.
We're working hard. We're coming up on the 100th episode here soon. That's going to be a boatload of fun. That's on Easter Sunday. So once you send the in-laws home, tune in on Easter Sunday, and that's going to be fun. That one we're done. And then someone I think said in the chat, we got to bring Josh and Justin back on for what we had planned. I mean, that might not be a bad idea down the road too.
I think it'd be a good idea.
All right.
All right, definitely.
All right, guys. Todd, thank you so much, guys. Stick around for the after show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We will see
Thanks,
you
everyone.
9 o'clock with James Sutherland. Dave Ruff, we hope you make it home safely tonight.
Yeah, we missed you, Dave.
Yes, Greg and Cynthia, that'll be the last time you ever drive anywhere with him. All right. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll see you next week.